Dana Brown yesterday doubled down on the fact that they are not going to be sellers at the Major League Baseball trade deadline. And it is hilarious to me how many people think this is news. Like, you see an article in The Athletic, in the Houston Chronicle, MLB trade rumors, go look at the baseball page at ESPN. Everybody that covers the Astros or baseball, Dana Brown says they're not going to be sellers at the Major League Baseball trade deadline. He's not going to say that he is on June 4th. Like, why would he say that on June 4th? This is not news. It is not relevant. I tweeted it out yesterday at Jeremy Branham. Like, could you imagine Dana Brown knocking on Jim Crane's office door, Jeff Bagwell's putting on one of those putting mats in the corner, and he's like, hey, guys, you want to rebuild? Like, you're not doing that on June 4th whenever you have a team that has made 7 straight ALCSs. This is not a news item.
No, it's people thirsty for anything they can get their hands on regarding this team. But at the same time, the fact of the matter is that we've talked about this for a while now, that the Crane gang ain't letting them do it anyway. I mean, they're not going to tip their hand no matter what they're doing. But the fact of the matter is, I have every belief in the world and expectation that they're going to be buyers, that they are going to be in go-for-it mode. They're probably going to be in go-for-it mode way further down the line than anybody else might give them reason to be buyers and in go-for-it mode. But that's who they've shown that they are. This is the newfangled front office of your Houston Astros that aren't analytically driven and aren't rationally driven in a lot of ways.
Now, I think they might get there, but you're not doing it on June 4th. And Dana Brown's not walking into the office in June saying, hey, guys, let's rebuild. Like, this isn't the owner to do that with, who the window is always open as long as I'm here. And then it's not the group of advisors to do it with either, who are, we're going to win everything and we're going to win everything right now and don't understand long-term, big picture, analytical sort of stuff. They might get there, like in July. So. I mean, maybe not, but it's not really the conversation for now. Like, June 4th, you're not having the conversation with the hierarchy that are the Houston Astros. If you're 20 games out of the race on July 20th, can you talk them into trading Bregman? Maybe so. But you're not getting anything on June 3rd when you're talking about rebuilding this team. A couple of quotes from Dana Brown. This is from The Athletic, Chandler Rome. We would have to really fall apart for that rebuild to happen. Or to be sellers. When asked whether he would have to contemplate selling if the team can't come back to 500 by the deadline. So at least he kind of acknowledges the fact that it could get there if we're just awful. So, okay, like Dana Brown, maybe he's not even toying with the idea of it, but he is not ruling it out. The other thing was the pitching would have to be struggling, said Dana Brown. The hitters would have to be struggling. If there's any sign of hope, I can't see us doing it. Brown said of a team that entered Monday 5-13 in one-run games.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the level of hierarchy and the chain of command that you'd have to get through, even if Dana Brown in his heart of hearts believes it's time to sell, it's time to try and stock up some assets and start the reset process. I think that the Crane gang and the chain of command fully believe that this is just a small little bump in the road, and that regardless, they're going to be in go for it this year. And if they don't get there, they're still going to be ready to do it again next year. And with his comments, like you mentioned, the window's always open while I'm owner. I don't think he gives a rat's ass about the farm system. I think that he just believes there's where his will has a way, they will continue to spend money aimlessly, and they will continue to just keep adding instead of trying to reload the system.
I could see them reloading the system. Like, I think that they could get there July 20th. Like, I think that it is in the realm of possibility, and I think Crane would be open to the idea of, hey, let's trade Alex Bregman for a couple of prospects before he leaves us for nothing. Same thing with, like, Ryan Presley, even though he's not a free agent at the end of the year if he hits that vesting option. This is more how people are overreacting to the quote of Dana Brown. I don't see any scenario where we're sellers on June 3rd. It's June 3rd. Mm-hmm. This is a front office that doesn't believe that they're a losing organization. It's a front office, like you said, they're going to chase winning. They're going to, with money, and maybe not wise decisions, but with money. That's why I laugh at the notion that Jim Crane's cheap. Jim Crane's in the luxury tax, and he's, maybe he's throwing bad money at bad money. Quite frankly, the fact that this is a news item on June 3rd, though, and like they're taking Dana Brown for what he is saying as gospel, is silly. Like, it's not reading the room. It's not having any sort of common sense.
It's also not following the team close enough on a regular basis.
I mean, it's beat writers for the team.
Or chasing clicks.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think it was going to be one of the two things that I said. I just feel like Chandler knows the team. There's no doubt he's following the team. But again, what's going to grab everybody's attention? It's going to be the fact that Dana Brown says they're not going to be sellers at the deadline, and that's what everybody wants to hear. Because again, when they're living in the moment and like riding and dying with every win and loss, that's what the audience wants to hear, and they're catering to their audience, which isn't realistic when you still got about 100 games to play, and we keep counting the games, going they're not 10 games out or more. And with that ownership group, they're going to believe that there's a quick way to get the deficits cut and get back in the race.
The audience, too, are the players. 3209, I know this might sound crazy, but right now is prime time to trade Bregman since he's killing it lately instead of letting him cool off and get nothing for him. I hear where you're coming from there. Now, you have to be throwing in the towel in the season to make that determination. But why Dana Brown can also be like, yeah, if we don't turn it around, we're selling. That's the message to the clubhouse. Like, and this clubhouse doesn't need to hear the message that we're going to be sellers. Like, you don't do that with a veteran clubhouse that has expectations of being in the postseason. So, again, the people that are reading too much into this quote, acting like it is going to be the philosophy of the Houston Astros if they're 20 games out on July 20th, is flat out silly. Because I do think that they would trade a couple of pieces. I don't think they would go full board, but I do think they would trade a couple of pieces if on July 20th they're 20 games out of the race.
Look, if there's a team that believes that Ryan Presley could be their closer down the stretch and he waives his no trade, take him. At this point, to me, I'm fine with that because I think that you've got your closer of the future in Hader for this year and 4 more. So, you can get that 14.5, I think it is, for next year vested off the books, and maybe you can get something for him. And you're right. I mean, I could see them seeing what they could get for Bregman, but at the same time, I think they're going to play it out like they played every single other one out, going.
Major difference here, though. If you're 20 games out in July, that's nowhere near where you've been in the golden era. It's a totally different scenario.
Right, but I still think that from a standpoint of the way that they've done these things, it's going to be a hard conversation to have for Dana Brown because of the fact that they're still going to believe either he's going to stay and depending on, and we're going to negotiate, or the fact is even if he walks, we want to look like we stayed loyal to Alex Bregman and we did everything we could to keep him.